This is All the Things with Michelle Wolfe. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of All the Things with Michelle Wolfe. Today I am joined by one of my favorite astrologers. His name is George. I found him on Facebook a couple of years ago. And I really connected with him through not only his interpretation of astrology, but the way that he brings in psychology and just kind of all the things. So, George, I'm going to hand it over to you if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for doing this podcast and for connecting on such a very important topic, which I think this whole dismissive, avoidant attachment style, insecure attachment style is. So, my name is George. I do astrology, but I also connect everything about personality disorders, about entity attachments, what drives people psychologically to behave in ways that are toxic, that are unhealthy. I like to study all this stuff. So I'm into the spiritual topics, the esoteric topics, the psychological topics, and I try to connect everything and explain it to people so they can make sense of what's happening to them, of the insanity that we have going on around us, because it looks like sometimes people have lost their mind because of how people are acting. It doesn't make sense, and I try to make sense of that.
So you posted a couple days ago about entity attachment. And so it's funny because like when we first connected a couple years ago, you were talking a lot about avoidance. And at the time I was dating somebody who was, I would classify as a dismissive avoidant. And when I read that, like at the time, I was still very much in the kind of like defending his behaviors. So like I know that you and I had some like conversation back and forth where there was a little bit of disagreement about some things, but like, you know, we did that so well. And that I loved that we could do that. And then like now that relationship for me has ended, and in hindsight, in a lot of like what has been revealed, I do see a lot of the things that you have talked about over the last couple of years about just not only avoidant attachment, just how it relates to narcissism. And then the post that you did the other day was about entity attachment. And as I read that, I mean, I felt that like resonance in my body. I was like, I can feel that. Like, it's like he's not there and like a part of him has vacated and it leaves room for other things to come in. And that made total sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. What we're really talking about, so the subject of this topic, when we talk about avoidant attachment, that's basically what this video is about, right? That we're making.
Sure.
We're also talking about a spiritual condition in which a part of us is ignored and we act the opposite of that part. So imagine you feel something. So let's say somebody you're interested in, you feel deep love for them, but you act as if you don't care about them. As if you couldn't care less, as if they're the least important person in your life and you're prioritizing everything, just not them. And that is basically the crux of avoidant attachment. Avoiding the attachment, avoiding the feeling. And the feeling is what informs you who you are. Of course, if you react to every feeling, and that's also something avoidants do, they're very reactive, very impulsive. Then you're like a puppet, you're controlled by feelings. Are you a puppet? No. So at the same time, you have to work with the feelings and say, hey, I'm going to entertain this feeling, not going to entertain this feeling. You are becoming whoever you invested into becoming. And the avoidant is about non-investment.
Yeah.
They are not invested into becoming anybody except what the world wants to see. So like a narcissist or like hive mind is all about mimicking, masking, being that which leads to survival. I get resources, I get approval, I get your energy, I'm good. Everything else that's going on is irrelevant. And this is why if a person decides over time, let's say 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe lifetimes after lifetimes, to always invest into survival and ignore the spiritual components, the emotional components, then they become a robot. And this roboticism, this AI-like personality, is a false self-overlay. And this is something I talk about in my teachings. So if you are AI-driven, it means you are a materialist. It means you are worshiping external validation and money and resources, and that's all you care about. People are supply, people are transactional. All relationships are essentially business relationships. Everything is a professional setting to exploit and use. And if somebody else opposes you, competes with you for resources, you're supposed to win. Because you winning against them means that you're a good person.
Mm-hmm.
And the avoidant, their self-esteem is based on that. This is why they are very competitive. This is why they always have to win. You try to argue with them, they avoid accountability, or they people please tell you, yeah, I understand, but then they're going to do the same thing again. Like they
Yeah.
don't understand, because all they really cared about is their image, their reputation. And this is so frustrating to deal with that. But wait a second. We're talking about avoidant attachment, but everything I'm saying, most people are doing that. Right? Like you go out there, you go into any professional setting, any job, any career, all the people around you are doing that. Everybody is invested into their image, protecting that image at any cost to survive for economical advantages, for relationship advantages. And this is why avoidant attachment is a survival response that is actually just fitting to the times, is what everybody is incentivizing you to be. So the avoidant is just meeting the requirements of the marketplace. And this is why the world is becoming increasingly more like this. Because if you want to have success in the world, you must be avoidant. You must not invest emotionally into people. You have all these options. You can go anywhere, right? Like you can go online, you can swipe. And you can swipe again, and you can swipe again. If it doesn't work out, just go, there's always options. And this is an illusion. The avoidant believes there's always somebody better than you out there. So they're never going to settle for you unless you are perfect, because the perfectionist, which is also like a survival response, it's like archetypal. The avoidant is so critical of other people, so critical of himself, because he's always hooked into this AI, into this hive mind reality where nothing is ever good enough, because there's always somebody else out there who's doing better than you are.
Yeah.
On social media, you see all these people working out, bodybuilding, putting on this perfect appearance. You see people acting altruistically, or they claim how they're so charitable, how they're such good people. They're smiling all the time on the camera, smiling. So all these smiley faces, all this masking is getting people likes, follows, monetary advantages. Well, my avoidant attachment is clearly working, so why should I change?
It is reinforced. And when you are somebody who, I look at all of us as like, we're all reflections. You're my mirror, And so like in the relationship, I see parts of myself in him. So how do I say this? Like, I overextend my empathy because I'm like, he's just a person. Like, he's just got his own stuff, that he's got his own shit, like we all do. And so you can excuse behaviors because you're like, oh, they're just a wounded person. And if I just give them love, then whatever. But like, I feel like the difference there is like with avoidant attachment, you can't receive that love. And if anything, that love is like, it feels uncomfortable and you want to like push it away. And so no amount of love that you pour into a relationship like that is going to matter, because you're not really being seen. You're just being projected on.
Yeah, this is the issue exactly. And this is a huge topic. I've just recently really started to connect some dots about this whole projection thing. The avoidant is constantly living in a fantasy world, a fantasy reality. This is what it's all about, right? Like with the likes, the give me money because I'm a good person. This is all the fantasy game, and the avoidant identifies with that. The avoidant requires a fantasy the external validation. Otherwise, they have nothing inside. There's no internal validation going on. And if you try to validate, but it's coming from your heart place, it's real. The avoidant can't see that because they're in the matrix.
Yeah, there was a time I just wrote about it the other day. I shared because now that I have like been able to, I've noticed for myself, so I have Mercury in the first house in Cancer. Like I have to talk about my feelings in order to process them. And I've done so much journaling about this to like help myself get through the processing of this. But for me, I have to share, like once I know that I'm healing when I can share it, when I've reached a point where like I have words that I can share with others. And so like I wrote the other day, we had a conversation at one point and I was reflecting to him like, just what a good person I feel like he really is. And he like looked at me and he was like, I hate myself. Like in the way that he said it, it was as if like I was insulting him. Like,
Mhm.
he's like, I hate
Yeah,
myself.
it's projecting.
Mm-hmm. And
Oh, you're trying to manipulate me. You're lying to me. You're
yeah.
trying to get something out of me. That's why you're saying it.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow. Like, and at that moment, I did register that in my body. Like, that's a red flag because
Mhm.
I love myself. But then like, I look at the mirror of that and I'm like, do I hate myself? And like, this must be a mirror for me in some way. And so, and also like, I stayed in that relationship even with these sort of like negative aspects. And I don't think I hate myself, but I do think that it opened my eyes to like, okay, you have a choice here, Michelle, you know? So,
Yeah, what you're saying about it, the thing is, if you're dealing with somebody who hates themselves, they're gonna unconsciously project that hatred onto others.
mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm worthy of hate, then how about you? Well, because what my standards tell me about me, they're also going to be about you. So
And
if
I do
I
know
can't
what
meet those standards, you can't.
I know what it's like I've been there. Like I worked to get to a place where like I can look in the mirror and go like, I love myself, you know? That took work and like self-awareness and working through my stuff. Like, so I think in that moment, I really felt for him because I was like, oh, I know what that feels like. And let me show him a different way.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like two different realities at war.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm trying to pull you back into the light, and you're trying to pull me into the darkness.
Yes. Yes.
And this is actually like, this is what they pull you into. This is what you're reflecting.
Well, and I said the other day when I was talking to you, it's interesting, like when you are, I mean, I definitely have my shadow aspects. I have, I'm not, but I feel like I'm generally a light being. Like I do kind of like want to pull people towards the light. And when you match with somebody who, like, when you have that like chemistry, that polarity that we had, like he would identify with more like darker archetypes. And
Hmm.
so you can see,
Like
like,
what?
in hindsight, you can see that like polarization, like that attraction.
Like what kind of dark archetypes?
Uh, he really like he enjoyed like playing the bad guy when if given the opportunity. Like he enjoyed that. Um, and characters like Darth Vader, like he might prop him up or just kind of like that. Like he enjoyed being able to, like, life is like a video game, and he enjoyed being that chaos character.
I see. Mhm.
Hmm.
Now it's Darth Vader, you know, that is actually an expression of the devil archetype
Hmm.
because it's a black suit. The suit is like a mask. It's black because it represents death.
Yeah.
Vader, the invader. So he invades, the personality takes over. Anakin is gone. Vader has taken over. So
Yes.
it's also this mask shifting, you know, into the mask, into the suit, into this armor, into this heaviness, into this into this density, right?
Oh, that makes so much sense. Yeah.
This heaviness. That's what is liked about it. You know, if you really describe what it is, It's actually describing the avoidant also pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you feel in their presence. Like it's tight, it's rigid, it's restrictive. It's like, oh my God, you're getting smaller. Your consciousness is restricting, is getting into a very tight bandwidth because you're avoiding. That means no, 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 don't go there, don't do that. I'm not allowed. Not allowed. Shame, shame, like in Game of Thrones. Ling, shame.
Yeah.
Shame. This little bell is ringing all the time in the avoidance mind. And when they ring it on you, if they're more, you could say, introverted, they may hide it. They're projecting shame onto you, they're criticizing you, they're biting you, but they say, oh no, I'm not doing anything. They may be quiet, they may be stoic, they may be silent. They're not telling you that they're biting you in their minds, but you can feel something's off.
Oh, and
Something's
never like,
off.
and I want to be clear, like, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or vilify anybody in any way, but this is my experience, and I think that it's important to talk about it. Um, Whenever I would like bring things up to him where I would kind of like confront it in the ways that I do. Like I'm a very loving person, I'm very reasonable, I try to be anyway. He always like there would be moments where he might admit to a little bit of something, but his behavior really in general didn't change. I did
Mhm.
see some growth, and that is what kept me like willing to stay, because if I can see growth, then I'm here for it. Like I'm not perfect, neither are you, and so if I see that you're growing, that feels good to me. I'm willing to give time and space for that to flourish. But the patterns, like over time, you do see the patterns and they continue, and they would get worse, like they would get harsher to the point where like at the end he just ghosted me after like we had seen each other, and then 2 weeks later on my dad's birthday. So my dad passed away years ago, and I have like a tragic story about that. Like I have abandonment issues from my dad. I didn't know him growing up. I didn't meet him until I was 27. Like, and he knew all of this. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he knew that it was my dad's birthday. So I don't know if it was done on purpose to be like the nail in the coffin that would really push me away and hurt me. And for me, I look at that like it's kind of perfect. It makes total sense. It's like tragically poetic that that would be the last day that I like heard from him is that
Mhm.
day. Um,
Yeah, this is very poetic, yes.
It is. And I'm like, instead of being angry about that, I mean, I'm hurt by that. And I'm, of course, hurt by being ghosted because it's a terrible feeling. Like you get no closure. It feels like you meant nothing. I don't think that's true, but it's like your brain, especially mine, because I like to understand. So my brain's like, what, why? What
Mhm.
happened?
Yeah, this is something very important, that people understand why it's happening. Yeah, yeah. This is actually why we're making this kind of content.
Yeah.
So
So
why
it's
do
like,
you think did he ghost you?
why do I think?
Yes,
Uh, I'll just tell you what I felt intuitively.
very good.
I felt like the image that I was shown is that like we were walking together, and then he started walking slower and slower, and then he just collapsed. Like, and it felt like he just collapsed into himself.
Mhm.
I think he was emotionally overwhelmed, and he didn't have the words for all of that. And I also think that he projected onto me
But you are causing it.
stories. Yes, that it was because of me. Like I
Yeah, this is the
pressing.
confusion they deal with. Yeah, this is what's so hurtful. This is their issue. They are overwhelmed because they are not working on themselves. They're not self-reflecting. They're not trying to fix their problems. They're running away. And they feel they need to run. The more often they run, more and more and more over time. And they see you triggering, they are running. So then they think, well, you are triggering me. If you weren't here, I wouldn't feel this way. I'm
Mhm.
gonna go somewhere else now. Bye. And then the person feels relieved when they ghosted you, relieved when you're gone. because see, now the trigger is gone because it was her. All this projecting is to justify the action.
Yeah.
They don't know why they're ghosting you, but hey, maybe if you are a bad person, if I can prove it somehow, maybe let me think back. Something that you did that I can misconstrue. I can reframe the narrative so it looks like you did something bad. Then I can justify it. Yes, of course, my intuition must tell me that I need to leave you. And this is also very confusing because they think their intuition is telling them to run. The intuition is telling them you're a bad person. The intuition is telling them you're no good. You're triggering me. You're stressing me. You're overwhelming me.
You said something the other day that really hit home too, and it aligned with like kind of what I had felt as like this. It's really hard to. It's almost like a double bind thing where it's like they someone who is more avoidant, but also people who are deeply wounded. Like they get an intuitive hit about something, but what I've learned is like you can't always trust that. Like that is not coming from a place of like connection. It's actually feeding disconnection.
Mm.
You said, can you talk more about that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
They're making unilateral decisions. They're blindly trusting this intuition they're getting. They're not trying to get more information. They're not trying to confirm, is it really right? They're trying to look for clues that it might be right by misconstruing the narrative because they're desperate for something, anything really, to justify what they're feeling. They're looking for validation. They're looking for confirmation. They're looking for proof. They're not looking for the truth.
For truth.
They want more of what they already are. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to change. So this is the issue, really. It's a mindset issue. It's a focus issue. So I personally, I'm always focused on, what is the truth? I don't know the truth, so I must humble myself, my intuition. I don't know if I can trust it. I'm not sure. If I was sure and I would trust it blindly, I would stop looking for more. I would stop researching. Researching is quite difficult. It means you have to look at what you're feeling. You have to think about it. You have to process your emotions. You don't want to if you're an avoidant. So what is happening as an emotional avoidance at the beginning becomes an intellectual avoidance. It becomes then an avoidance of reality. Don't want to look at the information, don't want to look at anything that causes cognitive dissonance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I see a piece of information that contradicts what I'm feeling. Now I'm not sure of myself, feeding the insecurity.
Okay.
They're trying to run away from insecurity. They don't want to feel insecure. They don't even want to admit that they are insecure. Because if they admit it, they have to feel it.
Oh,
Don't want
that's
to
what I was
feel
gonna say earlier. It's like when I would bring these things up with him, he would we talked about like insecurity once, and he was like, I'm not an insecure person, but that didn't it didn't register for me as like truth, and it felt confusing to hear him say one thing, but I had such a different experience of him, you know? Like there was just
it. And
such a
then you said you hate
disconnect.
yourself. Well, how can you hate yourself if you're not insecure? Doesn't make any sense, right? It's a
Right.
contradiction.
A lot of times it didn't make sense. And that really, like that feeling of this isn't congruent, like it just never sat well. My anxiety in that relationship, I mean, I definitely like I struggled with anxiety or whatever, but I tend to be a relatively secure person. And it
Mhm.
really pushed me like into that anxiety feeling all the time because it didn't sit right in my nervous system as like, because with the same with like I'm a truth seeker. Like I'm willing to look in the mirror. I'm willing to confront and humble myself and approach things as like, you know, what do I know? I want to know more. Um,
Yeah.
and so it just always like registered with me as like really confused, like a confusing energy. Like he kept.
This is what they feel.
Mm-hmm.
You're just feeling what they're feeling because you are a part of the environment. you merge with them, you fuse with them, you enmesh with them. And this is how we are. We are tribal creatures. We operate in groups. We want to connect, we want to socialize. Because together we find reality. Together we find answers. I personally, if I didn't have the internet, if I didn't have other avenues of information to look at, I don't know, it would be very confusing, very hard for me to get any answers because I would only have my own perspective. And
Yeah.
it's very limiting. So I need multiple sources to see, what's really going on and configure.
That's why we need people in our lives that, we can really like explore our blind spots with.
Yes. And this is tricky when you are with somebody who doesn't want to explore those blind spots, who has a defense against that. So it's like in a shell. I mean, it's a baby in a shell. I don't want to look at anything. So they're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a gravity that pulls you down. It's heavy, drags you deeper into the earth because the karmic pattern is they need to connect to the earth. They need to really get on the ground. Their nervous system is making it so heavy to slow down so they can look at themselves. But what they do is they run away all the time. Their nervous system is very restless. It's constantly running. And this feeds the dopamine. Stimulation. Always thinking about what stimulates me next. What's the next high? What's the next? Give me my fix. Give me my lollipop, to pacify the baby. They're looking to be pacified all the time. So this is why you can see substance abuse. It's very heavy with these kinds of characters. They want to be in the fog, the mystery. Not the mystery, the mist. So the false mystery, the fog. And they want you to be in that fog with them because it's like a numbing. It's like, don't you see everything's fine? Just be in La La Land, gone with me.
It's
And
interesting because, like, I think I brought an element of, I definitely think I brought an element of mystery to his world, just because I am who I am.
They're actually attracted to that, you see?
I know. I could feel his like sort of fascination with how I see the world and my inquisitiveness, like my ability to like, I could see sometimes him observing me, like even when we would watch movies and a lot of like fantastical kind of movies and, and I'm a witchy woman. So I see the world in a different way than, most women or most people that he's probably been exposed to. And I could tell that he was sort of fascinated by that and intrigued by that and attracted to that. But at the same time, that was exposing and scary, to be associated with that,
Yeah, because we're unconsciously pulled to go deeper into the mist so they can find a way through the fog. Your light is on the mystery, this flashlight they are looking for. And so they are attracted to it. But the moment you show it to them, what they wanted, they pull away.
Yeah.
It's like a person who's sleeping and they're sleeping too long, so they're oversleeping. They need to go to something, they need to wake up. So then you're like, hey, wake up. And they're like, no, I want to sleep. Why are you interrupting my sleep? This is the reaction, right? They know they need to go. They need to get up, but yeah, this is tricky, how this all works and the nerves and the emotions and the body. There's so many layers to this. There's a multidimensional condition. It's a very complex condition. And what you're dealing with, like, what does it say about you that you're with this person, right? This is what you're really all about. This is what you're always asking. And I am like this as well. So, for example, I also attracted lots of these avoidant people. And something I noticed is that I've enabled them. because I'm somebody, like you, I got the Cancer energy. So I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't want to trigger you. It's okay. You be comfortable. Yeah. I know you're sensitive. No problem. I'll walk around that. So this enable energy is very comforting, very nurturing, very lovey-dovey. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with you. I'm safe with you. And then you get the validation and you're like, yeah, finally somebody sees how safe and secure and great I am. But this is exactly what is the problem.
It does.
So
If the dynamic.
yeah, what it teaches you is severity. You need to become more severe, more harsh, more cruel, you could say. Like, you're so sweet, now it's time to get bittersweet. Because the bitter is how you get rid of the parasites, right? You take the bitter herbs and like, it hurts, it's very uncomfortable, but it comes out. And they don't like the bitter herbs. It's like when you have a baby and you give it cough syrup. It's like, no, I don't want to drink the syrup. Yeah, but you need to drink. Come on.
I know sometimes the medicine does, it is bitter. And I will say, like, being such a nurturing, loving, understanding person, I definitely see like the error of my way in terms of, I could feel the rigidity like when I was with him, and I could feel like how it did make me feel boxed in. Like I felt like I couldn't be necessarily my whole self. And that again, like that should have been a red flag, but it was like you do this dance where you're like, there are aspects of this person that felt really expansive to me. And I will say that because of that relationship, I definitely like expanded in terms of my understanding of myself. He reflected my core deepest wounds of abandonment and things, and I'm grateful for that
Yes.
because I really was able to see them like on the big screen right in front of my face and have to deal with them. And had I not been the like person that I was at the point, like if he had come into my life prior when I was like a more unhealed version of me, oh my God, I think that relationship could have been my undoing. Um, but because of the work that I had done, like it still was very hard and it like wrecked my nervous system over and over again. But because I'm where I was, like I was able to like troubleshoot that and work through that and be like, okay, what is going on inside of me? Like I really was able to get to the things from my childhood that I needed to heal through him.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, even though I am kind of tired of learning through pain. But I think that because of him, like my future relationships, like I'll know better now, like because of that experience.
This is a very important point. Like, what is the point of attracting these relationships? This is like
Mm-hmm.
a karmic pattern. So it is bringing up your tolerance, your sweetness, your absorbing quality. That is too absorbing. So then it teaches you how to repel, how to reject energy.
Mm-hmm.
If this is like a training ground or something, okay, how do I work with energy? I don't know how to repel energy because very uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable if I have to repel something or somebody because I can feel that discomfort. So if you have this empathic quality, it hurts you to repel what needs to be repelled. You have to feel everything that they're feeling in their mind and body, and you don't want to feel it. You don't want to feel their pain. So this is mirroring your avoidance then.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can tolerate their pain, then you can repel and then you can move past. The tolerance you have for being in pain yourself, not transformed in being, you know,
Yep.
triggering that pain, being the cause of that pain.
Yep.
This is what's so difficult. This is where the guilt, the shame hooks. Yeah, this is where the conditioning is found. Oh, how dare you be so cold, so ruthless, so egotistical. You see the collective hive mind, this AI of this false self-overlay, then trying to trick you by giving up your own rights. to make a boundary or say no. Because
Yes,
it's
there were definitely on both sides issues with boundaries. Um,
yeah, yeah.
I definitely saw that, and I can see that in hindsight. And I think this relationship really helped me to like solidify like my own boundaries. Like when I'm in a relationship with anybody, and it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be any relationship, and I'm feeling so much of somebody else, like it really helped me to get back into like, what does my energy feel like? And how I'm absorbing when I'm in those, because we do, like, as an empath, you need to know what your boundaries are and you need to be able to hold to them, especially in relationships that like can be more toxic.
Yeah.
So it was very enlightening. I do want to hit on
Mm.
the tie between avoidance and narcissism, like,
Mm.
because I don't think that all avoidants are narcissists, but I do see, and I think that I want to say that I think we all have a quality, like we can all display some level of narcissism, but I do see a connection between avoidant behavior and narcissism.
Yeah. I actually emphasize this connection very strongly
You do.
because we try to separate things, to categorize them. And this is what we need to do. Some things are good, some things are bad, some things are right, some things are wrong. And of course, NPD and avoidance isn't the same thing. But what if they have the same cause? What if the thought patterns, the defenses, the character behind avoidance is the same character as in narcissism? Now, the condition itself is different. So the narcissist is so rigid, so controlling, so disconnected from reality. This full-blown NPD is what you call it, right? But the avoidant still has some access. So the avoidant, you can fix the avoidant attachment. But yeah, so what is the thing with them too? In my opinion, I think it's almost like you have to break it down into its smallest pieces. So what does a narcissist do? First of all, to have narcissism, you must have a defense against your own feelings. Your feelings of neediness. I need you to accept me. Narcissist hates that feeling. So the narcissist says, I don't need to, I don't need to be accepted by you. So I will engage in unacceptable behavior. And maybe I will hide it so I can get what I want from you. But you accepting me, I don't care about that. Well, the avoidance says, I love my independence. I love my freedom. I love doing whatever I want to do. If you don't like it, I go somewhere else. It's the same thinking. Now, the behavior is the avoidant pushes you away. The avoidant develops feelings for you, needs something from you, but says, no, that's shameful, that's bad. I'm not gonna express that I need anything from you. You're not gonna have any power over me. I'm in control. So then the tyrant, the narcissistic father god, the controller, is completely identical in this instance between the avoidant and the narcissist. So think of it like a computer, and the computer has many programs. So we have two computers, avoidant computer, narcissist computer, but both computers share lots of programs. Lots of programs are exactly the same. So where's the difference? What would be an example of, okay, avoidant does this, but narcissist does not? The avoidant is a people pleaser. The avoidant tells you, yeah, I'm going to change. So the avoidant still deep down uh, needs you to think that everything's all right, everything's peaceful. This is the strong attachment to peace, you know? Everything always has to be all right. The narcissist says, I don't care. Like, if I want peace, you will give it to me. The avoidance says, we both make peace. So that's a difference, you could say. Of course, there's also covert narcissists. There's narcissists who have modified their behavior and learned how to manipulate in such ways that they may behave the same. But yeah, it's difficult to talk about. I also find it difficult actually to separate avoidance and narcissism sometimes. But what I do, I just look at individually. Okay, here's what an avoidant does. Narcissist does it too. So I put them in a box when it comes to this, and that's it. Not gonna say ever that they're the same, but they do so many things the same, so I don't care. It's just a false self-overlay. It's like Alexander Lowen says in his book, a denial of the self.
Yeah.
That's it. A denial of
And
the
it's
self.
at the expense of the people that they really care about in their relationships. And then you touched on something when we first started talking. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, I think it had to do with projection, and but there was something about like how you said something about how it's like it's actually their, oh, we were talking about like third parties and how it's like that person is gone and it's the other people in their life that are, because we were talking about ghosting.
Mhm.
And a lot of times those people in their life are abusers. And that has been my experience where those,
Yeah, I was talking about interjects.
yes,
A voice of the abuser has taken over their mind.
yes,
The longer you live with an avoidant or a narcissist, the more their voice is going to take over because your attachment system is trying to preserve the connection. And to preserve a connection, you become like them, you think like them, you feel like them. So when the narcissist or the avoidant criticizes you, if they do this 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, this is called entrainment. The voice becomes a voice in your mind. And now your own mind is generating this voice and criticizing you the same way. But
yeah,
then when you leave them for a few months, the voice will go away. If you say to the voice, you're not my voice, I know where you're coming from, you're wrong. So you have to reject the abuser's voice. The avoidant has never learned to do this.
yes, yes.
They never rejected their parents' voices.
And it's like that people pleasing aspect that I've now
Mhm.
come to like understand. It's like instead of, and I can see it so clearly, but partly because like I'm such a rebellious, like I'm like rebellious against authority. So when somebody is telling me something about my, especially about myself, I'm like, wait a minute. Like I always run that through a filter of, is this true? Instead of just taking it in and believing it. And I'm grateful for my ability to do that because it's probably saved me. Although I think that I've had to probably like learn to solidify that instead of letting people's opinions and things like hurt me. But
It's
I've,
interesting you say that.
what's that?
Sorry to interrupt, just an important point. I think avoidants say this about themselves too.
Hmm.
Avoidants also say, oh, I hate authority. I don't let anybody tell me about myself. They say this, but then their behavior shows they don't.
Yes, exactly. Like there's an incongruence there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and this can be frustrating because you use the same communication, the same language, but for you it means something else. For you it's actually true. For them it's not. How can you tell?
And that's
How?
like where we project, like I projected my healing, my
Yes, exactly.
stuff
Yes, yes.
onto him, thinking, okay, well, he's telling me these things. So I'm hearing him say this. So, I'm believing that. But then it's
Mhm.
like my eyes were showing me a different thing.
This is so confusing, right? It's almost like the people-pleasing aspect of them is saying this so they come across as this independent, cool person that they want to be in their fantasy.
Hmm.
In reality, they're the most people-pleasing person you can think of.
Yeah.
And you will see this only how they interact with other people. You will not fully grasp this if you only see them interact with you. This is why you have to look at the avoidance friends and how they talk to those friends. And you have to observe with a very critical eye. Hey, wait a second. You're talking to them like you love them, but then you tell me you actually hate them. And you would see this a lot with avoidance. They are huge gossipers.
Yeah.
They always talk badly about everybody, but then to their face, they are the best friends. They love them. And this is very tricky because how do you know if they hate you and
Yeah.
they're doing the same with you?
Yes.
And this is very traumatizing, actually, to be around this kind of manipulation, this kind of lying, this deception, because they're so attached to the deception. We call it avoidant attachment. They act detached, but they're super attached. They're so controlling. They just can't let go of this narrative in their mind.
Yeah.
They have to convince you.
It feels like a very rigid energy. It feels like it's very much in a box. It does feel very controlling. And I
Yeah.
could see that. I mean, in hindsight, like if anything, it helped me to see, for me in relationship, I need to go slow. Like I need to like see somebody and know them, like get to know them versus like that first hit of like, oh my God, we're a match. And you know, all the like you really need to like get to know somebody and see them in their life and see how they react to their work environment, to their, you know, because in my relationship there was a lot of like chronic complaining about
Uh-huh.
about everything. And
Yeah. This is another thing they love to do. They love to complain. You
and
know,
I
I
go,
like to understand this also through a spiritual lens, an
mhm.
archetypal lens. I'm thinking of a snake. It's always biting, always hissing, always something negative to say.
Yeah.
This is what I think is called the naga, the nega. It's hilarious. Imagine dealing with an avoidant and telling them, hey, you're doing. They'll probably laugh because they know this is who they are. And they need to know, they need to be mirrored properly about what they're really doing because you need to communicate their language, their energy
Yeah.
back to them. If you really want them to change, they need to come into contact with what they really look like, which is ridiculous, actually.
I would often like ask him, you know, I mean, I'm one to ask questions, right? To like offer reflection. So I would be like, you know, you seem to be kind of miserable, like with XYZ, right? And I
Such a nice way to say it.
like, you are, I would remind him, like, you are the creator of your reality. Like, you have choices here. And so if you are unhappy in this situation, change your situation. Like, you can change your circumstances. If you don't like that this thing is happening to you, you can change that. Like, you have the power to do that. But he was very rigid in like willing to just complain about it and sit in it. And then I started to realize, okay, if I'm going to be attached to this person, I'm going to be sitting in that too. And I'm not like that. Like if I'm unhappy in my life in some aspect, I will change it. Like I will fix that. I will shift something. Something needs to change.
They allow the energy to take over. They have no internal boundaries. So the most negative is a very negative energy.
Yeah.
It's a snake language. They allow the snake internally to take over. So they are very susceptible to entity attachments. That's something we mentioned before. Should we talk more about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that. We can bring in the mysticism.
Yeah, we can bring it this crazy stuff.
So
So
I'll say that my experience of that is that like I could feel the very genuine aspects of him. I could feel his heart. And then all of a sudden it was like it was gone. Like it just vacated.
yeah, it's like it's a shapeshifter.
Yes, and something else took over.
I've seen this before also in my inner eye. So there's this black figure, like a shadow, and it's double. So it has two faces. It's like Gemini. It's like Gemini. It goes in two opposite directions. This is actually a Mercury energy that they often carry because Mercury is also the navigator on the boat at sea. And if the boat gets lost and there's no more navigation, is because there's two faces wanting to go in opposite directions and they cannot come to an agreement. So they just give up. give up. So the boat is just stranded, you know. This is Mercury in its shadow expression that you see in the avoidant. I think this is also why maybe we have this video done on the Virgo new moon, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And this is something that most people have no idea about. You know, if we try to talk about the esoteric aspect of avoidance and astrology or something like that. So going back to that, they have vacated. So I see this figure. It's like a shadow. It's vanishing and then coming back in, vanishing and coming back in. It's almost like two people in one body.
Mm.
And you don't know which version you're gonna get. And this is very anxiety producing because this person believes they are both versions. They don't say no to one version. They just let it take over. And so they're always in this shifting. It's like a lack of commitment. You know
Yes.
what we say about Gemini, it's an uncommitted energy. This is because, you know, the two voices have not come together. And this is why they're so disagreeable. They always disagree with you. They always reject everything about you, everything that you say, because they believe internally, it's an unconscious belief, that they have to be contrarian. They have to be the opposite. They have to be the invalidator. It's a shadow persona. Invalidate everything about me, about you, about reality. Nothing is real. Cannot trust my senses. Do not trust. Suspicious. Everything's suspicious, you know, everything is a threat. Need to be on guard. Need to be careful. Can't trust anything you say. You're trying to manipulate me. You are the liar. You are the con artist. You are the manipulator. This is the shadow of mockery, the shadow of the magician. It's a shadow possession. You see, this is really spiritual, deep stuff I'm talking about here, that they have no idea is going on.
Yeah.
They have no idea. You can tell them, maybe.
Oh, I used to tell him, I'd say, you're always so, I would be like, you're so contradictory, you know? And I would, but like, I appreciated our, like, he would do the devil's advocate thing with me. And so I would bring things to him, then we would have like debates and stuff. And it was very like stimulating. But I would say, like, sometimes I would say, you know that what I'm saying is true and you're just being contradictory, you know? And he would get this smile on his face, like, because he knew, you know, he would do that.
Ah, the smile, the clown, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they laugh, ha, ha, ha. Everything's fine. Don't you see? It's all fun. Don't take it so seriously. Don't be so deep. The shame avoidance. The
Yeah.
moment they feel triggered, because when you were saying that, I was thinking, oh, that must have really triggered him. That must have really stinked when you said that. And that's, so this is another of a mask, you know, from the trickster. You're dealing with a trickster spirit when you're dealing with avoidant attachment.
Yeah.
Trickster spirit is the most common spirit. Is who's in control of this world. It's a trickster energy. So, but all about lies and deception. And when you are a liar and a deceiver, you will project that everybody else is a deceiver too. So you will always be on guard
Yeah.
against yourself. That is actually the irony of it, yeah?
Mm. You know, you saying that, and it brings me to this memory of, we were talking at one point, and I said to him, I said, because, you know, he did, like, he would just take space, like, he would just not respond for days. And it used to really trigger me, and I like would work through that because I do want to truly be able to give someone space. And so I saw that I needed to be able to do that. And I said at one point, I was like, you know, I just always trust that you're going to come back because you always do. And I've just learned that when you need to take space, I want to be able to, I trust that, you know, you'll come back.
Did you really trust?
I did, actually, at the time. I really did. I really, and that's why the ghosting hurts so much. And it's like but in hindsight, it makes total sense to me that after having said that to him, that he would ghost me, because he took the thing that I said, which is, I just always trust that you're going to come back. And when you come back, you're going to tell me what you were doing in that time and I will understand, because he always did. He would explain and I'd be like, yeah, I get that. And I wish that you could have just told me that like ahead of time, like be proactive, but I did trust that. And when I told him that, he started to cry. Like he cried and and it was immediate and he was like overcome with emotion and he was like, I feel like that's not right. I feel like you're letting me get away with something. And like listening to you say that,
They know.
yeah. And at the time I was really like, why is he so emotional about this? Like, why did that have that kind of response? But in hindsight, I think it's because,
Because an untrustworthy person.
yeah,
So how can you trust? How can you give me something I do not deserve? But they're not doing anything to become trustworthy. That's the problem.
yeah.
You gave him a gift. And instead of accepting the gift and saying, you know what, I'm going to try to become who you needed me to
Worthy
be,
of this, yeah.
he said, no, I don't deserve it. I will never be that person.
No, and that's the thing. And he then took that and he like used that as a weapon against me.
Yeah, and why this self-sabotage, right? This is really, if you think about it, this doesn't make any sense.
Over and over again, self-sabotage. I mean, that was our entire relationship. It was like a self-sabotage.
Yet you see this with avoidant. Why is it so irrational? Why is it trying to destroy? Like compulsively, it wants to destroy what you have built.
Yeah.
Because it feels comfortable in the destruction. Like I said, it's the internal invalidator. It wants everything to be in chaos because it confirms, yeah, that is all I can get. This
And
is the
even
world.
the invalidating part was definitely, I mean, prevalent for us because even as I'm a psychic medium. His ancestors would talk to me and I would share things. I mean, I'm not somebody that does cold readings. Like I don't walk up to people and I might get messages, but I don't typically just tell people things. In relationship, that's a little bit trickier because you're in a relationship with somebody and sometimes, an opportunity might come up where I'm like, so I'm getting this information. You do want to hear it, and he would listen and then he would like pick at something that
Yeah,
didn't sit right to like
of
invalidate.
course you would. That's exactly what I was expecting when
Yeah.
you were saying. That's what they do. They always nitpick anything you say.
Yeah.
Anything gets rejected.
He'd be like, well, you got like 80% of that right.
Yeah. They love to do that because it gives them a sense of authority.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
you want to tell me something? I
Yeah.
already know. Oh, let me tell you why this part of you, what you said is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
See, I know myself. You can't tell me anything. Isn't that exactly what the narcissist does as well? So there's another overlap.
Yeah.
This defense against it's
It's a
so
defense.
fragile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, you said something. So immediately it's projected. It's a shadow projection that you're trying to one up him. You're trying to dominate
And
him.
it's a fear. I think it's a real fear of being seen under that mask that they wear all the time,
It's a fear of being shamed because,
Yeah.
oh, I'm doing something wrong, so I'm bad. It's a feeling. It's a feeling so dark. It's consumes them. And it's so dark, it feels like they're losing themselves. They're losing their mind. Again, going back to that example of a ship lost at sea. And once a wave hits, oh no, where are we going to pull it in again now? Let's try to get back ground by telling you, no, that's not how it is. You're trying to one up me. You think you're better than me.
Or like that, you know, there's an idea that like maybe I was trying to like guide him or something, and
Yeah,
he
you're trying to do the navigation.
control. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
helping with the navigation, but the ship doesn't want to be navigated.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Because everywhere we go is wrong.
And that feels like, I mean, relating that back to entity attachment, like when you're trying to like invite someone into the light and there are these like dark entities that are like they want to keep them as the supply and so keeping them in the dark, That's what you're working against. And the only way I feel to navigate into the light is for that person's authentic self to have the courage to come out and be seen
Yes.
and to take control of themselves
And
instead.
this is where the entity hooks in,
Yes. Yeah.
tries to tries to create this illusion that you are the evil person.
Yes.
You're the bad one. They don't want to sit with the feelings that is all around it. They don't want to be with the elephant in the room. It's just, don't look at me. Put a blanket on me. Hide me. Talk to the front.
And then they don't want to look at themselves, so they distract themselves with all kinds of things, substances, video gaming, drinking,
Forget.
going out, porn, whatever it is that's going to stimulate the things that they need so that they don't feel like they really need anybody. Like they can just be this like hyper independent, I don't need anybody kind of person. But we are social sentient beings. We do need each other. Like you can't really grow. You would live a very stagnant life if you don't allow other people to come in.
It's a dishonest life because there's no room for emotions that are negative.
Mm-hmm.
All the negative emotions are there, but they're being gaslit. They're gaslighting themselves out of it. No, I'm happy. Ha, let me do a selfie where I'm smiling. Yeah, see,
Well,
I'm happy. I'm
one of the
living
things
the
that I
life.
like, one of the things that I really connected with him on, because for me, freedom is paramount. I want to feel free and I want my partner to feel free. And for him, freedom is so important. But the interesting thing that I learned is he's not really that free in his life. Like
The complete opposite, yeah, of him.
it absolutely, yeah.
This
And
is the irony also.
I
Again, Gemini.
and that makes me really sad for him is that instead of actually living his life and being free, he might have plenty of money to do and buy whatever he wants, but that's not real freedom.
Mhm.
If you know what I'm saying. So it's like,
Again, it's all about the false self overlay.
yes.
Always inverting reality, reversing it, saying the opposite of what's true. The thing is, this is the irony. Some part of you feels that when you're with them, that you have to be the opposite of what you are, so they would be happy.
Mm.
You could try it. I tried it actually before, so I was with an avoidant, and I was noticing when I am being myself, they pull away. The more I am confident in myself, the more present I am, the more grounded I am, the more I feel this black hole energy getting stronger. It's like they're getting more unhappy, the more happy I am. And then
Yes.
I did something. I pretended to be like them. I pretended to be, oh, I'm unsure. I'm not going to say anything. I'm mute. No, I'm just going to sit here, not rocking the boat. I'm small. And as soon as I did that, pretending by the way, not real, they stood up and they felt like, hey, let's connect, let's talk, let's have a
Yes.
conversation. You.
Yes. It like reverses the role and it makes them feel powerful, like they have a purpose. You can feel
Yes.
that.
Yeah, you can trick them by pretending to be miserable, and they will be happy. And you can feel this, your nerves feel this. And this is why sometimes you accidentally become insecure. You become anxious. You feel shame. You feel guilty. You feel bad about yourself. You don't know why. You feel bad about yourself because your nervous system knows you need to feel bad to make them happy.
Yes.
And
And
this is how
being
it hooks
happy
into
is
psychic vampirism.
being happy is triggering. Like I noticed the same thing. Like whenever we would be really good and I would be really happy and I would be sharing, like, I'm so happy in my life right now. I knew that I was doomed because as soon as I would like voice that, and I am like, I'm just somebody that like, I'm going to tell you how I feel. So I'm like, I'm really happy right now. Things are just really, I could feel the like for him, that felt heavy. Like that felt like
Mhm.
responsibility, like that he needed to maintain that in some way. But feelings ebb and flow. And just because I'm saying like I'm just really happy right now doesn't mean that I'm saying that you need to maintain keeping me this way, first of all,
Yes.
that comes from me, but like we would be really good. And anytime that we would be really good, we would crash.
Oh my God, even while you're saying it, I'm thinking of all the projections that he's gonna put on you because you say you're happy. Oh, so you're trying to one up me now? You think you're better than me? Oh, you think you're happy? You're not really happy. Everything is shadow projected, what they're doing. It's assumed that you are doing it as well. Your happiness cannot be real. Your happiness is a threat. It's some kind of manipulation. You are trying to, I don't know, you know, suspicious. But when you're unhappy, when you're miserable, yeah, you're being real now. You're being
And
yourself.
that's like a comforting place, I think,
It's
for them.
comforting. Yeah, it's relieving. It's predictable. It's known. But when you're happy, it's like, wait a second, happy? How can that be? And how did you get there? And who are you trying to convince?
And what do you like? There's an air of like, what do you want from me? Like, what are you trying to get from me by telling me this?
Yeah, like there's some kind of agenda, right?
Yes, yeah.
They feel this feeling of you being happy is you're just attacking me. It's an attack.
Well, it feels like a threat. And I think part of that to me, like, it feels like it's a threat because there's some sort of expectation then. And that
Yeah.
feels heavy. Like, that feels like responsibility. That feels like you want something from me. And really, it's just an acknowledgement of like, we're in a good place right now.
And you know what's bad? This is called transference. When you get constantly projected upon, you become that projection. You confirm it. Your nervous system involuntarily starts to mirror that. So for me, what would happen, somebody's projecting that I'm trying to one-up them, and suddenly, out of control, my body starts to express or mimic as if I am trying to control them. And I'm not sure what's going on. Like what I wasn't trying to do that, but now I think I'm doing that. Like you start to believe you're actually doing what they say you think you are doing.
Yeah.
Is
So how that played out for me is like in the idea of being a burden. I really struggled with in my life in general, like the feeling of being a burden to people. And in
Mhm.
relationship on some level, like we all have things that can be burdensome to the people in our lives. But when you love someone, you hold that burden. Like and like we do that for each other, I believe. But like he would pick at things sometimes like we would talk for hours. And then it got to the point where he would start making jokes like he would say, so much talking, and he would say that in a joking
Oh,
way, but he
I've heard this before.
that became a theme. And I still hear that voice in my head going, oh, so much talking. But then he would
Ah,
say things
okay.
to me like, listen, I don't like talking at all. He's like, but I talk to you and I talk to you for hours. And that made me feel special. But at the same, it was weird. It was like, it would make me feel special.
Backhanded compliment.
Yes. But then it would be like, this is obviously a burden to him that
Mhm.
that we do this. And he didn't need to talk to me for hours. Like he could say, like, I have to go. He never did. So it's like,
Because they get tired from listening to you. And imagine when you have Mercury on the ascendant, hearing that
yeah,
you're supposed to talk. And what you're saying, you're thinking, oh, is it not good enough? Maybe I have to modify what I'm saying, say less. They don't want to listen to you because it means you matter.
hmm.
There's value to what you're doing, what you're saying, who you are. Value means, well, then I care about you, means attachment.
Yes.
But there's a nervous system wiring to detach. Detaching means devaluing. It's really important to understand that.
Yeah.
Detachment means devaluing. You are devalued. And right after a devaluation comes the discard.
I was just gonna say the
Yeah.
disc.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you feel you are being discarded emotionally. Like you are, for the bin.
Yeah.
Now you need to be taken out.
Yeah.
And this is how they look at you. You can see it in their eyes.
Oh, I can feel it. Like, I mean, I've called it out, and it feels very cruel.
The lack of empathy, the
Yeah.
lack of consideration,
Yeah.
the, oh, can't you take yourself out? Why do I have to leave? Can't you leave me? And this is where the guilt, victim, offender reversal happens. They're waiting for you to leave.
Yes.
But if you don't leave, they will provoke you. They will criticize you. They will
Yes.
complain about you to force you to leave. But it's also passive, aggressively, underhanded, covertly, underground. Is designed to make you feel bad about yourself until you can't take it anymore. And then when you can't take it anymore, you will get emotional, you will react, and then they can say, ah, see, I knew you weren't good for me. I'm going to find somebody who's more emotionally stable, who's not, you know, like you, insecure, out of control. So then they're like, yeah, I knew it. She was no good. It's not just cruelty. It's it's really, I don't know if I have
Kind of
words.
insidious. Like it feels like I can see why, you know, people will say like even the fact that like the ghosting happened on my dad's birthday. And I look at that in hindsight and go, was that done on purpose? Like, was that sadistic, right? Or was that just like, did it happen to happen that day?
Mm.
And when the betrayal of all of that happens, you look back at that person and you feel like you don't really know. Like, I don't
They
really.
get resentful over time because you're supposed to leave me alone. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. They nitpick, they criticize, they complain about all the things you're supposedly doing wrong. Like everything is your fault, what they're feeling.
Yeah.
I'm a baby. I can't be held responsible for anything. It's all you, always you.
I wonder, in like wrapping this up. So,
Mhm.
anybody that's been through a relationship like this, what can we leave them with? Like, what kind of advice can we offer?
Well, first of all, look at why you attract this person, why you're even tolerating this behavior. Okay, maybe you are too tolerant. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want to be the bad person, and you must, you must be the bad person. You must stop trying to control their projections. They will project onto you that you are this, no matter what you do. Recognize the evil that you're dealing with and accept that it's not your burden to carry. So we take it on. So where is the self-guilt tripping, the self-shaming?
Mhm.
The abuser is already inside of you before you even meet this person. They're just reminding you of that.
That's the mirror. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are not aware that we are already abusive towards ourselves.
Yes.
We are agreeing to the abuse, nothing more. They are not doing anything. They're doing
I
nothing,
want to,
really.
yes, I want to say to that, like my experience of that was I would often tell myself, you know, he's just a person. He's just a human with his own stuff. I would always say like you have your shit and so do I. And because of that, on some level, I made myself believe that like I deserved it, or that I could tolerate it. But I want to say, like, we're not here to tolerate abusive behavior and painful behavior. That's not like a relationship. That's not a healthy relationship if you feel like you're having to consistently like tolerate someone's negativity.
Yeah, so it's about belief systems also. What am I supposed to do? I think this is where people get confused the most. They don't have any values or morals, so they don't know what's right. Is it right for this person to abuse me? Am I supposed to allow him to do this? Yes or no?
Right.
Because why not? They can do what they want. I can do what I want.
And
Everything goes.
myself, like, this behavior is emotionally abusive, but I know he doesn't mean for it to be. But just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
someone isn't intentional, like maybe they're not intentionally meaning to be that way, but if that person is not willing or able to look at themselves and go, you know what, this is not okay. Like doing this to somebody is not okay. That is not going to change that dynamic.
Yeah, it's all about taking control at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody's around me who's doing bad things. Do I want this in my life? Yes or no?
Right.
So it's about looking at our values, our boundaries, re-examining them. So every time you get into a relationship like that, it's an opportunity to raise the standard.
Yes. And so I think a level of like really looking at your own values and like your value about yourself, holding that standard of what you want in a relationship and not negating that because you've now met someone that you connect with and you have all these feelings for and you think that you're going to love them into a certain way of being. Like that was a big lesson for me is like no amount of love. I mean, I loved him. Like no amount of love is going to change someone else's behavior. You can
Yes,
offer them
beautiful point.
like the whole platter and they can just not take it because they either can't receive it or they have whatever stories are going on. And so it's really about like turning that love towards yourself and going, okay, like being honest with yourself about what you want in relationship and then saying no to anything that does not meet that standard.
Yeah, it's something about our nervous system, but it's dictated by our beliefs and our behaviors and our thoughts. How much do I need to get out? When is my limit? So everybody in today's world is about expanding their limits, becoming more limitless. I say become really limited, really, really limited, really restrictive on what you're going to tolerate. They are so restrictive, but they are coming from a shadow place, so they're not actually making any decisions. They're expecting you to fix all their problems without even communicating what these problems are most of the time. So you need to communicate. And communication is one of the main issues really with this avoidant attachment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I communicate that this is not right? Oh no, then I have to justify it. I have to be on the side of justice, right? I have to do what's right. So my boundaries, are they objective? So the more objective you try to be, the harder it gets.
Yeah.
And this is an irony, really. The avoidant is actually a super subjective person. They're not interested in your objectivity at all. They don't care about the truth, remember? They only care about how their feelings. You make them feel something bad. And that's it. It's that simple. Very, very basic. You make me feel something bad out.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you that because, then I have to feel bad because I rejected you, and then I have to feel guilty because I'm a bad person. No, no, no. I'm
Yeah.
going to be quiet to avoid as much negativity as possible because I'm so positive.
It really is about not feeling anything.
Yeah, basically,
And
like
even
Catherine
the
with a lollipop.
yeah, and even the like because I would say, I can hear hard things. Like just tell me what's going on with you. Like I can hear it. If you need something, like I'm here for that. And there was no like communication about things
Because
because
it's not about you, it's about the image that they need to preserve.
yeah,
It's an
yeah.
ego shell, like the egg. Once you get through the outer shell, it all falls apart. Don't want to go there.
And I would say like anybody that's in a situation like that where like if you can't have those like not being able to have those conversations, like hard conversations, it's so important. Like you need to be
Yes.
able to do that in relationship. And so I would say that that is a red flag. And I would say listen to your body. Like if your body is constantly being pulled into a state of dysfunction and dysregulation, that is not sustainable in a
Mm.
relationship. And you
A
might,
good
I
point,
mean,
I
I
think.
went down the road of like, oh, if I could just get him to see, whatever, then like I won't feel this way. So I'm seeking safety like through trying to like help him, fix things. That is so like you have to really bring that energy back to yourself and go, wait a minute, let me just be with myself here. Like what's going on inside of me? Why do I feel this way? What is, what's what is motivating my desire to get somebody else to be a different way.
Mhm.
Like, just get really curious, I think, about yourself instead of focusing so much on somebody else.
I think what most people forget is what they sacrifice to stay.
Yeah.
They don't know how much they lose because all that energy gets depleted trying to suppress and avoid.
Yeah.
You need to become avoidant to stay with the avoidant. Only an avoidant can stay. So you become increasingly more avoidant the longer you stay. As the more secure you are, the less tolerance they have for you. And you as well. A good sign that you are on the right track is that you cannot tolerate them at all. They become intolerable for you. You need to reject, you need to devalue, you need to discard. They're showing you how quickly and easy they are to do this. You need to be even quicker.
But
They're
see, here
devaluing
I'll
you
say, like,
constantly. You need to devalue it right away when you see anything.
part of, and I think that's again like part of the projection game. And but like my Cancer nurturing, mothering energy was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I can see that this person has like these issues with like abandonment and rejection, and I'm not gonna do that. Like, and that like put me in just like a negative like way of operating because it made me stay and it made me hold on even though that was really like hurting me, but I was like so I put like his well-being above my own. And I think,
And why?
why did I do that? Oh, because I mean, uh I do think that that's the mothering aspect of me. Like I've learned that I can't put other people above myself. And I mean, it wasn't just him that I do that with, but I can see that I've done that in a lot of relationships where I put someone on a pedestal.
What is the emotion you're trying to avoid?
Hmm.
What would you feel, have to feel, if you stopped being this nurturing and considerate and caring and sensitive and careful? Ooh, walking on the eggshells.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, it definitely takes me back to my childhood. Um, and like that, like, sense of, I mean, it was my own abandonment, really, like not wanting to lose a person. Um, but also like not wanting to give up on a person. And I feel like that relates to like my childhood and not wanting to like give up on
Yeah,
my,
that's very intellectual in understanding.
yeah.
I get that, of course. And I'm really asking such a simple question as, okay, what is the feeling you're trying to avoid? There
Mm.
is a feeling that you will have to feel if you stop. Is it difficult to answer?
It is. It feels like numbness in my body.
Numbness.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's already a kind of a defense, oh,
Yeah.
like frozen, freeze response.
Yeah.
You get frozen when you stop trying to fix it.
Yes.
So when you're frozen, there's an emotion deeper down that got triggered already. You're already triggered. That's why you're frozen. You stop, you let go, you say, you fix your own problems. I'm not going to be your mother. I'm
Hmm.
not going to be comforting anymore. You comfort yourself. I'm not going to go around your defenses. I will trigger you. You will be triggered. You will be uncomfortable around my presence. If it's too uncomfortable for you, you can leave. So there's an emotion you feel, and then so the freeze response say, don't make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're trying to avoid the freeze. And actually, at the core of the freeze is guilt.
Yes, it is. It's like I feel really bad
Mhm.
when I know that I'm triggering somebody and that I know that they have to sit with uncomfortable feelings because of me.
And also, what is even deeper and to understand about this is an aspect of the emotional body, the unconscious body, which is projected from the astral. It's connected to the moon. The moon is the mind. The mind controls you by making the emotion real. I'm guilty because I did something wrong. That's what the emotion says. I'm freezing because I need to stop. Need to stop myself. I need to do something. So it's a belief system. This is why the moon also deals with cults, religious environments.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere where you have to follow the crowd, appease the crowd, to survive in the group, to survive in society. So social expectations, morals, ethics is also a function of what makes the moon control your mind. And in trauma, your mind gets conditioned and programmed. And this program feels more real than anything rational, anything logical. So your logic won't matter. If you are with an avoidant, your logic can't help you. If you don't deal with this emotion that you don't want to feel because you feel like a failure, you feel like you're doing something wrong, you're stepping out of the group mind. And when you do, you are in danger. It's a flight, fight, or freeze response.
Yeah.
Gets you into your reptile brain. Logic doesn't work, so reptile takes over. And then you will do anything you need to do to survive. It's all about survival. So maintain the connection, keep the attachment, I will survive. But lose the attachment, I will not survive.
Mm.
And when you say, wait a second, if I lose the attachment, I will survive. Maybe you think you can get out of it, but you need to go even deeper because you can't trick your unconscious mind. If your unconscious believes that you will not survive if you lose the attachment, then it doesn't matter what you think. You can do all the shadow work in the world, but it does not touch the unconscious. So stop trying to trick it. Instead, you want to say, okay, my goal is survival. But if survival is my goal, survival is my problem. Survival is my prison. Go deeper than survival. Wait, what am I supposed to do? What is my highest calling? What is my soul asking me to do? And my soul doesn't care if I'm surviving or not. So soul above survival. That's the paradigm shift. If
Yes.
soul comes first, I will lose 1,000 people. I will lose all of you. Means nothing to me. And you will feel it. Your unconscious will believe you because your priority is not survival.
Right.
And this is when your mind opens up.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
so
need to
freeing.
worry about that anymore. I'm free. This
Yeah.
is true freedom.
Yeah.
Spirituality is actually true freedom. This is why it's so important, the spiritual perspective, to understand this stuff, because you see with the avoidant, he's completely in the moon, in the lunar principle, actually.
Yeah.
It's completely, he believes everything his mind tells him, completely under the illusions. It's like, oh, the mist, you're lying, everybody's lying, everything, always danger, danger, survive, survive. This is why they're so scared. They're in constant paranoia. They're full of fear. The more you go into survival, the more fear you have. This is the reptile brain. In the hidden forces in this realm, the tricksters, they want you to be in the reptile brain as much as possible. Because the abuser wants you to be like him. Narcissist wants to convert you into his religion, into his cult. So that is what's happening collectively to everybody. So you're not alone. Everybody has this problem.
Well, I'm very thankful for my connection to a higher consciousness, I mean, I can't say enough like how that perspective has saved me time and again, but definitely from like this relationship felt like a huge test in a lot of ways. And I think if I hadn't had that, like that deeper connection to something beyond, like you said, like my 3D experience here and just like wanting to survive. And I was going to say, like, what does the soul want? It wants to thrive. Like it wants to shine. It wants to just be free. And so being able to like connect to that sense of freedom outside of relationship, knowing that, you know, and I think that like some of that like sense of survival and like wanting that person to be a certain way, like for me, I can see how that stems from childhood, and like you depend on your parents, and if they're not okay, then you feel like you're not going to survive. So it's like you try to fix your world, you try to fix them, you try to whatever. And but being able to go there and see those things about yourself, like have those honest conversations of like, why do I feel this way? And being willing to be uncomfortable. Like you asked me the question and I was like, I'm having a hard time getting to the answer to this, but being okay with that, like in real time doing that, like that's I appreciate that gift, you know?
Yeah, you burn through the discomfort like
Yeah.
the sun
Yeah.
burning through the illusions of
Yeah.
the moon, because the sun is supposed to be in charge. The moon is only reflecting the light of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is in charge, so your consciousness is projected onto the moon. You are the projector. So you must project onto yourself who you want to be, what really matters to you, what's your mission. This is the solar principle in astrology, right? The sun actually shows you like your soul mission, what you're supposed to do, your authority. And the moon is completely dependent on that. It is like the father who gives you the 10 commandments. And the sun is so consistent, always I don't know, like the same amount of time per sign.
Yeah.
It never goes retrograde. It never deviates. It's so consistent, like rules, like a system of rules. So you have to have a system of rules internally. And every time your moon, your mind, your unconscious says, no, I don't want to do it, you say, no, 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 we're going to do it. I don't care how uncomfortable you are. And eventually the discomfort goes away. So then the mind will project back your sunlight. And this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you bring light into the world. You could explain it like that.
I love that. So tell people where they can find you, because you're a wonderful, amazing person. I love your interpretation of astrology. The session that I had with you was deeply informative. I felt like you saw me in ways that I like had a hard time reaching and explaining. So if somebody was looking for you, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. You can find it in the description down below, the links. And you can also reach me out through email. I have also a YouTube channel. You can find in the links. I have lots of videos. Like even if you want to check out the topic we just talked about, how do I strengthen my consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
So I can overcome the moon conditioning, the hive mind. So all this, all the conditioning that gets you into these toxic relationships, I have videos about that. I have videos about the sun, how to strengthen the sun, how to tell if you have a weak sun, why you're being blocked there, etc. But yeah, this is how you can find me. And you can message me on Facebook or email, and we can set up a session if you're interested to dive deep into your chart, get all these shadows and these karmic patterns into the surface, into the light, so you can burn through that.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for having this conversation with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
I appreciate all the resources and content that you've put out there. I've learned so much just from our interactions. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I also really appreciate the content that you make. I always read your posts.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, sometimes there's really gems where I'm like, yeah, this is exactly how it is, Like I feel like our stuff is very resonating.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Very complimentary.
Yeah, so if you also want to do any podcast like this in the future, doesn't have to stop here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining, and I'll put all the links in the description, and we'll talk to you all again soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you resonate with this video. Thanks for joining me for this episode of All the Things.